Bill Gates' success story. Born on October 28, 1955 in Seattle, Washington, William Henry Gates III was the middle child of three under William Henry Sr. and Mary Maxwell Gates. Gates' father was fresh out of the University of Washington School of Law when he married Mary Maxwell, a school teacher. Despite the name William Henry Gates III, his family and friends preferred calling the young Gates Bill. Right from a tender age, Gates grew in a household where he competed with his siblings from family sports to Monopoly board games. Unlike his reserved father, Gates' mother was more of a fairy go-getter who incited such competition amongst her children, ensuring they would have what it takes to succeed in life. Unsurprisingly, young Gates shared her competitive spirit with excellent grades to show for it. Too bad, his way of life and small stature for his tender age made him prey to the bigger bullies who pushed him around. Though Gates suffered nothing major, save for a hit to his self-confidence, he soon began to withdraw from others. Reading became his major pastime, and for hours on end, he'd thumb through an encyclopedia and allowed his curiosity lead the way. He found comfort in his imagination and how he mentally explored possibilities. Who could have guessed this particular trait of his would serve him well in years to come? On the other hand, Gates' parents feared that Gates spent too much time alone. Even though he excelled at schoolwork, they feared his lackluster attitude in class as well as his lone wolf mentality would render him socially inept. To remedy this issue, they sent him to the Seattle Lakeside School. There, Gates would learn of programming after a computer company, the Computer Center Corporation, offered time-shared computer access to the school. Before long, Gates utilized the basic programming language to build a tic-tac-toe game. His programming interest eventually led him to meet Paul Allen. The duo became fast friends and often conducted harebrained schemes in the school's computer lab. One of their schemes involved exploiting a bug in the computer operating system to gain free time, but the computer company caught wind of the duo's suspicious activities and had their access banned. Their probation period forced Gates and Allen to see the error of their ways. They helped the Computer Center Corporation debug their system and create a payrolling system. Gates and Allen also built a scheduling system for their school. When Gates turned 17, he and Allen started their first business venture, the Trafo Data, a software that allowed counting and study of traffic patterns. The duo gained $20,000 from this venture and began to dream of starting a company on their own. Well, not if Gates' parents had anything to say about it. They wanted their son to study law. In 1973, while his friend Allen studied at Washington State University, Gates grudgingly enrolled at Harvard University. Both friends kept in touch. Their dreams of starting a company together burned strong in their mind. Still, it begged the question, where would they start? They would soon find their answers when MIT's Micro Instrumentation and Telemetry Systems, an electronics company at Albuquerque, New Mexico, released the Altair 8800 microcomputer in 1975. Businesses and computer enthusiasts ordered the system by the thousands. Gates and Allen sensed the Altair 8800 microcomputer would be at the start of something big, hardware-wise. So, how about software? They realized people would need a basic interpreter that could run on the Altair 8800 and allow them to perform the desired tasks. However, rather than building and presenting such software, the duo did the opposite. They approached MITS with their proposal. The company confirmed its interest. Unknown to them, Gates and Allen were merely bluffing. They had no such software yet. So the duo spent several months calling their bluff, racing to build a basic interpreter with no Altair computer of their own to test run. Their hard work would eventually pay off when their demonstration ran flawless. Gates and Allen shook hands with MIT's president, Ed Roberts. It was a deal to distribute the basic interpreter for the Altair 8800, which soon became known as Altair Basic. Gates dropped out of Harvard to join Allen full-time at MITS. Together, they would call their partnership Microsoft, a combination of microcomputer and software. Of course, it wasn't smooth sailing from the beginning. especially when Gates discovered a significant number of people were pirating Microsoft's Altair Basic. His stern warning in the open letter to hobbyists of 1976 went unheeded. Moreover, after irreconcilable differences between he and MIT's president, Gates parted ways and became head of Microsoft. He sought to make his mark with the top dogs of the computer industry. Coincidentally, around 1980, IBM approached Microsoft for an operating system for their IBM PC. Gates considered the situation carefully. While IBM's order was doable with current resources, Microsoft certainly did not have the time to create an operating system from scratch. Were they to start, Microsoft's competitors would pounce on this opportunity sooner than later. No, Gates preferred striking while the iron was hot. So he acquired an operating system that matched IBM's PC specification from a smaller software company. He signed an exclusive deal that allowed him to take full control of said operating system, which would become known as MS-DOS. But Bill Gates deliberately left out the part about Microsoft's deal with IBM. While some might say the move Gates pulled was underhanded, nobody could deny Gates' cunning and foresight, especially how he manipulated IBM in the palm of his hand, making it so that the almighty Big Blue will become dependent on his operating system, the MS-DOS, and paying a hefty license fee for copies of the software for their IBM PCs. This turned out to be a good move, for the IBM PC became the golden standard for PCs. This birthed the existence of diverse IBM clones in the 80s. Though diverse as they may be, they all had one similar OS, MS-DOS. Microsoft's revenues went from $2.5 million to $16 million. It was more than enough incentive for Gates and Allen to have Microsoft incorporated. Of course, Gates' competitors weren't sitting on their heels. VisiCore's Vision came about in 1983 and Apple's Macintosh in 1984. More threatening of the two was VisiCore, whose Vision OS allowed the user to operate the computer utilizing an interface such as a mouse to interact with graphical elements of their operating environment. It was at this point that ideas of click and drag were conceived. Gates predicted that users would most likely prefer a graphic user-friendly interface. But what could he do? Banking on users' loyalty to Microsoft, Gates made his bluff, announcing that Microsoft was developing a graphical operating system called Microsoft Windows. It worked. A majority of users preferred waiting a year or so for the launch of Microsoft Windows rather than purchasing the short-lived Vision. However, it wasn't the user's choice that was the final nail in the coffin for VisiCore, but the steep requirements their so-called graphical operating system demanded. In 1985, Gates launched Microsoft Windows, and it was worth the wait. In 1987, Gates reached billionaire status with a net worth of $1.25 billion. 2 years later, he introduced the ubiquitous Microsoft Office. By the time the 90s came, Microsoft had essentially become a household name for computer software. Gates embraced the dot-com boom with the launch of the Internet Explorer in 1995. During this period, Gates married Microsoft product manager Melinda French. They would later have 3 children. By 2000, Gates stepped down from CEO of Microsoft but continued to oversee the company's affairs as chairman and chief software architect. 8 years later, Gates parted ways with Microsoft. He joined his wife in their philanthropic crusade through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and is still known till date as one of the richest men in the world. Thank you very much for watching our videos. We'd like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other interesting videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.